चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा परामर्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदां श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवं श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणानुनान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगणा श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णस्ते भगवते श्रीराजाय स्वामिने सुरक्षायै। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णस्ते भगवते गौरवान् प्रचारिणे विशेष मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं। Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So we are starting a new chapter today. So we'll see how it goes. So from chapter 3 it ended up how? How did it end up? Chapter 3. What was the end of chapter 3? What was Krishna's instruction? The end of chapter 3.
Slay lust and the enemy, and so that we can do self-realization and spiritual advancement.
And how is it slain? Read. Krishna's instruction.
By regulating the senses. By regulating the senses.
Yeah. That's all he said. Okay, so he said by deliberate spiritual intelligence, and therefore chapter 4 starts with what? Transcendental knowledge. Alright? Then with deliberate spiritual intelligence. So now he is giving the spiritual intelligence. This is chapter 4. Right? Shri Bhagavan Vacha Imam Vivaspate Yogam Ruktamanaham Avyayam Vivasvan Manave Praha Manur Ikshvakave Bravit. Right. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivaswan, Suryadev. And Vivaswan instructed it to Manu. Who's Manu? The father of mankind. And Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. Who's Ikshvaku? Who's Ikshvaku? Yeah. Who's Ikshvaku?
He's a king.
Which king?
Is he related to the Bharat family?
Yes. So this is the lineage, alright? Purport. Herein we find the history of the Bhagavad Gita traced from a remote time when it was delivered to the royal order of all planets, beginning from the sun planet. Who appears in the sun god dynasty? Lord Ramachandra. Ramachandra appeared in this Surya dynasty, and Krishna Chandra he appeared. Yes. Right. The kings of all planets are specially meant for the protection of the inhabitants, and therefore the royal order should understand the science of Bhagavad Gita in order to be able to rule the citizens and protect them from material bondage to lust. Human life is meant for cultivation of spiritual knowledge in eternal relationship with the Supreme Person Godhead. And the executive heads of all states and all planets are obliged to impart this lesson to the citizens by education, culture and devotion. Read it again. Human life is meant for cultivation of spiritual knowledge in eternal relationship with the Supreme Person Godhead. And the executive heads of all states and all planets are obliged to impart this lesson to the citizens by education, culture and devotion. So if we find something is missing in our society, right? What is missing? Spiritual education, right? Spiritual education, culture. Culture by default it is spiritual, right? Culture means Sanskriti, right? That's what we call it, Sanskriti. By nature it is spiritual and devotion. So everything is coming together. In other words, the executive heads of all states are intended to spread the science of Krishna consciousness so that the people may take advantage of this great science and pursue a successful path, utilizing the opportunity of the human form of life. Everybody wants to be successful, right? This is the motto in every school, right? The child hardly is able to speak. Father and mother is saying you have to be successful, right? Now what is that success? What is that success is being given here? You should know you are not the body or soul, right? And you are going through cycle of birth and death, birth and death, birth and death. You are given one life when you are having an opportunity to execute your desires, fulfill your desires, but you should also aim at coming out of the cycle of birth and death. And only human beings can grab this opportunity. We spoke about that last week. In this millennium, the sun god is known as Vivaswan. So Surya Dev is known as Vivaswan, the king of the sun, which is the origin of all planets within the solar system. So Prabhupada is giving some information here that this sun is the origin of all planets within the solar system. I don't know how that happens, but we accept it. We accept it because it's written here according to our Vedic Shastra. Alright? I don't know how the sun manufactures our earth, our moon, Venus, this one, that one. I don't know, but here, Prabhupada is saying. In the Brahma Samhita it is stated, Yakchakshuresha savita sakala grahanam Raja samasta suramurti rashesha tejaha Yasya gyaya brahmati samrita kala chakro Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Let me worship, Lord Brahma said. The Supreme Person Godhead Govinda, Krishna, who is the original person and under whose order the sun, which is the king of all planets, is assuming immense power and heat. The sun represents the eye of the Lord and traverses its orbit in obedience to his order. So the sun is the eye of the Lord and is traversing its orbit. What is the significance of the sun traversing its orbit?
Wherever God is listening to him.
What is the significance? The sun is traversing its orbit. The sun is traversing its orbit. What is its meaning for us?
Day and night हो गया.
Day and night, yeah. Then? Day and night. Then?
Season change.
Season change. Then?
Year change.
Year change, months change, week change, right? So, Kala Chakra. Right? But this sun is moving according to the instruction of Govinda. The sun is the king of the planets, and the sun god at present of the name Vivaswan rules the sun planet, which is controlling all other planets by supplying heat and light. So meaning that, anyway, this is just my understanding. So this sun is the original source of heat and light. It is projecting on all the planets, right? So original source of light is the sun. He is rotating under the order of Krishna, and Lord Krishna originally made Vivaswan his first disciple to understand the science of Bhagavad Gita. The Gita is not therefore a speculative treatise for the insignificant mundane scholar, but is a standard book of knowledge coming down from time immemorial. So this Bhagavad Gita, you know, here we are, we take birth on this planet, we are in nobody, and suddenly we go to school, we start learning ABC, and then suddenly I become a big scholar. Then we find this book called Bhagavad Gita, so I take it, I start dissecting it and speculating about it, right? This is what we are doing. So Prabhupada is saying this book is original from the Supreme Lord, given to Sun God, alright? Meaning it existed before we saw the day of light, right? Insignificant, but we are so proud right? As we start growing up, right? A scholar like Hari title, one is doctor, right? Philosophy, this. In the Mahabharata Shanti Parva, 348.51 to 52, we can trace out the history of the Gita as follows. Tretayugadho chatato vivasvananavetado manuschaloka vrityartham suttayekshaakavedado Ikshvakunah cha kathituh vyapya lokanavasthitah. In the beginning of the millennium known as Treta Yuga, this science of the relationship with the Supreme was delivered by Vivaswan to Manu. Manu, being the father of mankind, gave it to his son Maharaj Ikshvaku, the king of this earth planet and forefather of the Raghu dynasty, in which Lord Ramachandra appeared. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita existed in human society from the time of Maharaj Ikshvaku. Alright? So, from where is this being given? Mahabharata. Or a Mahabharata. At the present moment, we have just passed through 5,000 years of Kali Yuga, which lasts 432,000 years. Before this, there was Dwapara Yuga, 800,000 years. And before that, there was Treta Yuga, 1 billion, 200 billion, 1 billion, 200 million years. Thus, some 2 million, oh God, I can't read this, I've forgotten my mathematics. Thus, some 2,500,000 years ago, Manu spoke the Bhagavad Gita to his disciple and son Maharaj Ikshvaku, the king of this material of this planet Earth. The age of the current Manu is calculated to last some 305 billion or trillion? Billion. Trillion? 3 million years. Alright. Of which 120 trillion, that's what it is it? 4 million have passed. 400,000 have passed. So this is 4 million. Accepting that before the birth of Manu, the Gita was spoken by the Lord to his disciple, the sun god Vivasvan, a rough estimate is that the Gita was spoken at least 120,400,000 years ago, and in human society it has been extant for 2 million years. It was re-spoken by the Lord again to Arjuna about 5,000 years ago. That is the rough estimate of the history of the Gita according to the Gita itself and according to the version of the speaker Lord Shri Krishna. It was spoken to the sun god Vivasvan because he is also a Kshatriya and is the father of all Kshatriyas who are descendants of the sun god. And the Surya Vamsh Kshatriya, and all the Surya Vamsh Kshatriyas. Because Bhagavad Gita is as good as the Vedas being spoken by the Supreme Person Godhead, this knowledge is apurosheya, superhuman. Since the Vedic instructions are accepted as they are without human interpretation, the Gita must therefore be accepted without mundane interpretation. The mundane wranglers may speculate on the Gita in their own ways, but that is not Bhagavad Gita as it is. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita has to be accepted as it is from the disciplic succession. And it is described herein that the Lord spoke to the Supreme Lord, the Sun God spoke to his son Manu, and Manu spoke to his son Ikshvaku. So this is history. History of Bhagavad Gita.
That means it is even beyond Arjuna and Krishna, even before.
This question will be asked now. Who spoke to Ikshvaku? Who spoke? Who spoke to Vivaswan? Who spoke to Vivaswan? Krishna, alright. So it's not beyond Krishna, right?
No, not
Right?
before
Arjuna, yes. Now we must learn these two verses by heart. Let's recite it again. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavanaham Avyayam Vivasvan Manavetraha Manur Ikshvakave Bravit. Again. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavam Maham Avyayam Vivasvan Manavetraha Manur Ikshvakave Bravit. So, the Supreme Personal Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the Sun God. What is the meaning of imperishable? Yes, meaning this Bhagavad Gita is never annihilated. Whatever we may do, we may burn all the books, right? We may kill all the brahmanas, right? Whatever we may do, this Bhagavad Gita will survive. Alright? Because it is imperishable, avyayam. I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivaswan. So Surya Dev's name right now is Vivaswan. And Vivaswan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind. And Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. So this is how it came to human society. From Krishna and the sun god. So meaning from outside our universe, outside our planet Earth. Okay, now this one also we have to learn by heart. Evam parampara praptam Imam Rajarshyo Viduhu Sakale Neha Mahata Yoganashta Parantapa. Together again. Evam parampara praptam Imam Rajarshyo Viduhu Sakale Neha Mahata Yogunashta Parantapa. Again. Evam parampara praptam Imam Rajarshyo Viduhu Sakale Neha Mahata Yogunashta Parantapa. Okay. Priya? I forgot your initiative name. Parashakti. Just prepare to listen.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. Purport. It is clearly stated that the Gita was especially meant for the saintly kings, because they were to execute its purpose in ruling over the citizens. Certainly, Bhagavad Gita was never meant for the demonic persons, who would dissipate its value for no one's benefit and would devise all types of interpretations according to personal whims. As soon as the original purpose was scattered by the motives of the unscrupulous commentators, there arose the need to re-establish the disciplic succession. 5,000 years ago, it was detected by the Lord Himself that the disciplic succession was broken, and therefore He declared that the purpose of the Gita appeared to be lost. In the same way, at the present moment also, there are so many editions of the Gita, especially in English, but almost all of them are not according to authorized disciplic succession. There are innumerable interpretations rendered by different mundane scholars, but almost all of them do not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, although they make a good business on the words of Sri Krishna. This spirit is demonic because demons do not believe in God but simply enjoy the property of the Supreme. Since there is a great need of an edition of the Gita in English as it is received by the Parampara disciplic succession system, an attempt is made herewith to fulfill this great want. Bhagavad Gita, accepted as it is a great boon to humanity. But if it is accepted as a treatise of philosophical speculations, it is simply a waste of time.
So now, this is, I think we all know about this, right? Right now, so many people, they're using Bhagavad Gita, they're earning their living from it, right? They're becoming superstars, they're becoming motivational speakers, they will take bits and pieces from Bhagavad Gita, right? They're becoming counselors, right? But they're not telling people about Krishna. They make sure to omit the name of Krishna. Why?
Because we don't believe in it.
You don't believe in him and also
They want to be God
Yes.
themselves. They are like, they want to enjoy the property of God without, that's what
They want to be worshipped.
not believe the credit. They want to be God themselves.
because they think if they would take Krishna's name and people will not believe. Right? So they make sure Krishna's name is not mentioned. Is it this one? Okay, anyway.
Just like how it was proven in Howard, and they are having so many courses in so many years, which is based on Hindu philosophy, Gita and so much more. But there's no credit to India or to our text. This is how the West has been doing with us. Not this kind of mind situation.
It's the right, but let me make this part of
Should I call it?
be careful. Hare Krishna. Okay, just think.
You have to live by all of us.
The others are on, the other ones are on. Just think. Alright, so there are innumerable interpretations rendered by different Malay scholars, but almost all of them do not accept the Supreme Person Godhead Krishna, although they make a good business from the words of Shri Krishna. Alright? the demons don't believe in God, but simply enjoy the propagate the supreme. See, there is a great need now. We should appreciate and understand the value of Prabhupada's movement, the value of this book. Because as we are saying, everywhere, Bhagavad Gita has been taught in some form or the other, right? Right? But the source is not being talked about, and the full message is not being given. Only partial message is being given. And we read earlier, when Prabhupada is explaining that actually, here in this same purpose, it is clearly stated that the Gita was specially meant for the saintly kings because they were to execute its purpose in ruling over the citizens. Right? So, like we are finding, since the whole year, we've only been hearing about calamities, right? Wars and natural disasters. And now since the monsoon started, I don't know, from everywhere. I just saw today Kolkata is flooded. And I saw yesterday Maharashtra somewhere is flooded, right? So unequal distribution of rains, right? It is an indication of bad government. So it says in Srimad Bhagavatam, when Yudhishthir Maharaj was reigning, right? How was it?
Only it used to rain in the night so that in the day everything can work peacefully. It will not disturb the city.
Yes. And the hills were flourishing, right? The valleys were flourishing. Everything was in season, right? And if anywhere there is drought, it means that this king was being pious. Right? So, people, because the kings for so long have been impious, the people have become impious. So, without hesitation, they commit sinful activities. Like right now, the world knows only one thing, whether it is west or east or whether everybody knows only one thing, how to make money. Right? Dharma or Kambuch. Right? Now everybody is running after what? Earth. Entire world. And so, what is the problem? It is coming from the ruler. Right? This disciplic expression, when Bhagavad Gita was being spoken, practiced all over the world, that has broken. So, even if you have, maybe now you have a pious king, but the population of sinful people, right? They are doing so many things that they shouldn't do. And I would just, all this geography everywhere they are talking about it. Say, nature is bringing like one to those ecologists, those geography people, they explain. So they're saying, the monsoon came and brought the rain. It's not that they celebrate beside a cloud burst, or a cloud burst. But otherwise, they're just bringing their rain as usual. But what have we done? We have destroyed the ecosystem. Human beings. And why will we do something like this? Because we are sinful. Right? Because demons, they think only how can I exploit this material nature. And they don't care about the next door neighbor. Right? So, it's somehow or other just hit and take. And the consequences lying on the population. Right? It's really pathetic to see all these scenes, these floods, and how people's houses are gone. I mean, now, who will feed them? Right? Even if you can, the water goes down, you can rebuild them. Who will feed them? Do you know what it means for everybody? So, we have to spend Ras Diyari, we have food in the coming months. Isn't it? If there's no agriculture or so much is destroyed, where are these people that will get their food? And we are getting our food from them also. Right? Is that from the supermarket? Everybody's part of it. And here, who's the culprit? Prabhupada is saying, who's the culprit? Irreligious rulers. So Krishna is speaking about Buddha. So what is the hope? What is the hope for us? Remember that all is nature, they are actually the devas from Hindu. Right? Where they go to, I just heard, this geography person, he said, you criticize the forecast, climate forecast, what do you call it? Indian meteorological
Predictions.
because you keep on, you criticize. But do you understand that, air is coming this way, hot air and cold air, air is coming. How are we going to figure out where the pressure will be high, where the pressure will be low? Right? It's as good as a guess. So, rather, it's like from geography, when you learn geography, you say air goes this way, or say what stuff. Air goes this way, then you say low pressure, high pressure, low pressure, then water, like this. This is all called divine engineering. Right? Now, how do you know that is Deva said and he said, okay, let's go this way? Right? Because they are living beings. Right? They are living beings. And they are under direction. Right? So, if people are so simple, why do the devas give them goodies? Right? And on top of it, due to our simple desires, we interfere with the original organization of the earth, right? This ecosystem. Right? But I heard that they're expecting a what's that? Tsunami type from under the ocean. Earthquake, volcano earthquake from under the ocean. Right? So this one person is saying, he said, because we so much want to dominate the seas, the oceans. So we read in the 5th canto of Bhagavatam. I think it is King Priyavrat. So, King Priyavrat, he had created boundaries with his chariot. He had made boundaries. So he divided, so your land is here and my land is here. So he put hills, mountains, and oceans and rivers so that you stay where you are. Alright? Now what are we doing? We're going to do trade. Alright? We're going to do trade. What? Why we want to do trade? Yeah, Artha. What for? So what do? We say that we create like a passage, right? A bridge from this way to that way. And they spend billions and billions of dollars to build these bridges, right? Whereas nature has deliberately created boundaries and it sits there in Harvard so that one country doesn't go and capture the property of somebody else because everybody is being given according to what they deserve. Right? Even the animals, they have their place. Right? But when we do all this stuff, then suddenly you find wild animals coming in the human area. Right? Every year you find a crocodile somewhere going out. Right? Every year we hear this monsoon. Some python is coming up. Right? Because we are doing all this, we are tinkering with the arrangement of the universe. So that we can leave us alone, right? So if we want all these disasters to stop, Prabhupada is saying very simple. We should say, proclaim it that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we must follow his directions as given in Bhagavad Gita. So, it is clearly stated that the Gita was specially meant for the simple kings because they were to execute its purpose. The purpose of Bhagavad Gita, okay, in ruling over the citizens. Meaning you have to make the citizen become Krishna conscious. It's not just God conscious, but Krishna conscious. Right? So here Prabhupada is saying that since there is a great need of an edition of the Gita in English as it is received by the Parampara system, an attempt is made herewith to fulfill this great want. Bhagavad Gita as it is a great boon to humanity. Believe me, I think all of us here, we got copy of Bhagavad Gita because of the right? So, we got copies of Bhagavad Gita. Right? Everybody in everybody's house, one Gita will be there, right? Nobody could make fun of it. Nobody. Nobody could understand it, explain it, and if by luck one person in your village they want to read it, then they don't know everything. Then he has to be a scholar, and that scholar has help from the British. Right? So, but if it is accepted as a treatise of philosophical speculation, is simply a waste of time. So this is how we were learning from the Indologists, right? Paramparas broken, so they bring in their own scholars, and then they teach you through their understanding.
And this is what Modi used to do. This Modi is the pious king. After all that we had after Congress and the Britishers and the Mughals, one thing Modi has to do in his era is bring the Bhagavad Gita in school.
Yes.
That is the only way the ruler must make the children become Krishna conscious. That is the only way. Because otherwise the whole people are so diseducated.
They're failing because their society is failing. Whatever they're trying to do is simply failing.
We're talking about the big thing about what people are doing to the earth. Like, even a small cup of whatever they drink with food. Well, imagine the
And even in Vrindavan.
well, imagine the mind is so twisted that they don't have the sense of right and wrong. Even the basic sense of right and wrong.
Yes.
And same thing
Yeah,
when
I
they
have
go
seen
abroad, they
people have
don't do.
seen people
What?
have seen people
When
in
they go abroad,
Vrindavan,
they don't
in
do.
temples and
Just
stuff.
throw everything.
And not cigarette. Like more
like me. So why are you even there? Why are you there?
And that
Because the sense of right and wrong is so badly and
Next. So let's continue. Sarevayam Varateya Yoga Prokta Puratanaha Dosi me sakha cheti Rahasyam yetaduttamam
Sir, the same, Eva, certainly, I am this, Maya, by me, Te, unto you, Adya, today, Yoga, the science of yoga, Prokta, spoken, Puratana, very old, Bhakta, devotee, Asi, you are, me, my, Sakha, friend, Cha, also, Iti, therefore, Rahasyam, mystery, he, certainly, Etat, this, Uttamam, transcendental. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Purport: there are two classes of men, namely the devotee and the demon. The Lord selected Arjun as the recipient of this great science, owing to his being a devotee of the Lord. But for the demon, it is not possible to understand this great mysterious science. There are a number of editions of this great book of knowledge. Some of them have commentaries by the devotees, and some of them have commentaries by the demons. Commentation by the devotees is real, whereas that of the demons is useless. Arjuna accepts Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and any commentary on the Gita following in the footsteps of Arjuna is real devotional service to the cause of this great science. The demonic, however, do not accept Lord Krishna as he is. Instead, they concoct something about Krishna and mislead general readers from the path of Krishna's instructions. Here is a warning about such misleading paths. One should try to follow the disciplic succession from Arjuna and thus be benefited by this great science of Srimad Bhagavad Gita.
Alright, so we'll discuss this. Alright? Next. Param bhavatu Arjuna uvacha
Arjuna Uvacha
Aparam bhavatu janma
Aparam Bhavato Janma
Param janma vivasvataha
Param Janma Vivasvataha Katham Etat Vijaniyam Tamado Roktavaniti. Arjun Uvacha. Arjuna said, Apram Junior, Bhavata your Janma birth, Param superior, Janma birth, Vivastha of the sun god, Katham how, Etad this, Vijaniyam shall I understand, Tvam you, Adao in the beginning, Proktvan instructed, Iti thus. Arjun said, the sun god Vivasan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? Purport.
Arjuna is questioning Krishna. So Arjuna is questioning Sri Krishna here. Is it?
Yes. You
Purport.
answer your question. You answer your statement.
Purport. Arjun is an accepted devotee of the Lord, so how could he not believe Krishna's words? The fact is that Arjun is not inquiring for himself, but for those who do not believe in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or for the demons
who do not like the idea that Krishna should be accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For them, only Arjun inquires on this point, as if he were himself not aware of the personality of Godhead or Krishna. As it will be evident from the 10th chapter, Arjun knew perfectly well that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the fountainhead of everything, and the last word in the transcendence. Of course, Krishna also appeared as the son of Devaki on this earth. How Krishna remained the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, the eternal original person, is very difficult for an ordinary man to understand. Therefore, to clarify this point, Arjun put this question before Krishna so that he himself could speak authoritatively. That Krishna is the supreme authority is accepted by the whole world, not only at present but from time immemorial, and the demons alone reject him. Anyway, since Krishna is the authority accepted by all, Arjun put this question before him in order that Krishna would describe himself without being depicted by the demons who always try to distort him in a way understandable to the demons and their followers. It is necessary that everyone, for his own interests, know the science of Krishna. Therefore, when Krishna himself speaks about himself, it is auspicious for all the worlds. To the demons, such explanation by Krishna himself may appear to be strange because the demons always study Krishna from their own standpoint. But those who are devotees heartily welcome the statements of Krishna when they are spoken by Krishna himself. The devotees will always worship such authoritative statements of Krishna because they are always eager to know more and more about him. The atheists who consider Krishna an ordinary man may in this way come to know that Krishna is superhuman, that he is Anand Vigraha, the eternal form of bliss and knowledge, that he is transcendental, and that he is above the dominations of the modes of material nature and above the influence of time and space. A devotee of Krishna like Arjun is undoubtedly above any misunderstanding of the transcendental position of Krishna. Arjun's putting this question before the Lord is simply an attempt by the devotee to defy the atheistic attitude of persons who consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being subject to the modes of material nature.
To answer? Right. Very clear.
Very clear.
Next part. Shri Bhagavanuvacha
श्रीभगवानुवाच बहूनि मे व्यतीतानि जन्मानि तव चार्जुन तान्यहं वेद सर्वाणि न त्वं वेत्था परन्तप. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, the personality of Godhead said, Bahuni, many, me, Bahuni, many, may of mine, Vyatitani have passed, Janmani, births, Tava, of yours, Cha, and also, Arjuna, O Arjuna, Tani, those, Aham, I, Veda, do know, Sarvani, all, Na, not, Tvam, you, Vetha, no, Parantapa, O subduer of the enemy. The personality of Godhead said, Many, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot. O subduer of the enemy. Purport. In the Brahma Samhita, we have information of many, many incarnations of the Lord. It is stated here, Advait
Together. Advaitamachyutam
Chutam Manadim Panantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayunayanta Vedeshu Durlabham Durlabham Atma Bhaktau Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Oh, I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govind, Krishna, who is the original person, absolute, infallible, without beginning. Although expanded into unlimited forms, he is still the original person, the oldest, and the person always appearing as a fresh youth. Such eternal, blissful, all knowing forms of the Lord are usually not understood even by the best Vedic scholars, but they are always manifest to pure, unalloyed devotees. It is also stated in the Brahma Samhita. Krishna Swayam Samavaramyo Govindamadi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govind, Krishna, who is always situated in various incarnations such as Ram, Narasimha, many sub-incarnations as well, but who is the original personality of Godhead known as Krishna, and who incarnates personally so. In the Vedas also it is stated that the Lord, although one without a second, manifests himself in innumerable forms. He is like the Vaidurya stone which changes color yet still remains one. All those multi-forms are understood by the pure, unalloyed devotees, but not by a simple study of the Vedas. Vedeshu Daurbalyam Adorbalyam Atma Bhaktau.
Vedeshu Durlabham. Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham.
Devotees like Arjun are constant companions of the Lord, and whenever the Lord incarnates, the associate devotees also incarnate in order to serve the Lord in different capacities. Arjun is one of these devotees, and in this verse it is understood that some millions of years ago, when Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to the sun god Vivaswan, Arjun in a different capacity was also present. But the difference between the Lord and Arjun is that the Lord remembered the incident whereas Arjun could not remember. That is the difference between the part and parcel living entity and the Supreme Lord. Although Arjun is addressed herein as the mighty hero who could subdue the enemy, he is unable to recall what had happened in his various past births. Therefore, a living entity, however great he may be in the material estimation, can never equal the Supreme Lord. Anyone who is a constant companion of the Lord is certainly a liberated soul, but he cannot be equal to the Lord. The Lord is described in the Brahma Samhita as infallible, Achyuta, which means that he never forgets himself even though he is in material contact. Therefore, the Lord and the living entity can never be equal in all respects. Even if the living entity is as liberated as Arjun. Although Arjun is a devotee of the Lord, he sometimes forgets the nature of the Lord. But by the divine grace, a devotee can at once understand the infallible condition of the Lord, whereas a non-devotee or a demon cannot understand this transcendental nature. Consequently, these descriptions in the Gita cannot be understood by demonic brains. Krishna remembered acts which were performed by him millions of years before, but Arjun could not, despite the fact that both Krishna and Arjun are eternal in nature. We may also note herein that a living entity forgets everything due to his change of body, but the Lord remembers because he does not change his Satchidanand body. He is Advait, which means there is no distinction between his body and himself. Everything in relation to him is spirit. whereas the conditioned soul is different from material body. And because the Lord's body and self are identical, his position is always different from that of the ordinary living entity, even when he descends to the material platform. The demons cannot adjust themselves to this transcendental nature of the Lord, which the Lord himself explains in the following verse.
Right, so now, why is it that Arjun doesn't remember his past birth?
Because he is a living entity.
He's a living entity, alright? So it's not possible. How much memory can we store in a small jiva? And then another reason,
Because he's a part of the Supreme, but he's not the Supreme.
God is Advait, but because of change of body,
yes, because of change of body we forget our previous birth. Alright? So we all have this question, why is it that I don't remember? So here, Prabhupada is explaining that when you change body, part of the change of body is that you forget. You forget your previous birth. The activities of the previous birth, the circumstances and environment you forget. So he cannot remember that he was with Vishnu. Next 6. Jyoti Sannavyayatma
Jyovi Sannavyayatma
Bhutanam Ishwaropi San
Bhutanam Ishwaropi San
Prakritim Swamadhisthaya
Prakritam Swayamadhisthaya Sambhavam Atma
Aja unborn, Api although, Son being so, Avyaya without deterioration, Atma body, Bhutanam of all those who are born, Ishvara the Supreme Lord, Api although, Son being so, Prakritim in the transcendental form, Swam of myself, Adhisthaya being so situated, Sambhavami I do incarnate, Atma Mayaya by my eternal energy. By my internal energy, Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form.
What is the meaning my transcendental body never deteriorates? What does that mean?
like we have old age, he is always 16 years old.
Yes.
The Lord has spoken about the peculiarity of his birth. Although he may appear like an ordinary person, he remembers everything of his many past births, whereas a common man cannot remember what he has done even a few hours before. If someone is asked what he did exactly at the same time one day earlier, it would be very difficult for a common man to answer immediately. He would surely have to dredge his memory to recall what he was doing exactly at this time one day before. And yet, men often dare claim to the God or Krishna. One should not be misled by such meaningless claims.
And yet men often dare claim to be God or Vishnu.
Then again, the Lord explains his Prakriti or his form. Prakriti means nature, as well as Swarupa or one's own form. The Lord says that he appears in his body. He does not change his body, as the common living entity changes from one body to another. The conditioned soul may have one kind of body in the present birth, but he has a different body in the next birth. In the material world, the living entity has no fixed body.
but transmigrates from one body to another. The Lord, however, does not do so. Whenever he appears, he does so in the same original body, by his eternal potency. In other words, Krishna appears in the material world in his original eternal form with two hands holding a flute. He appears exactly in his eternal body, uncontaminated by his material world, by this material world. Although he appears in the same transcendental body and is Lord of the universe, it still appears that he takes his birth like an ordinary living entity. And although his body does not deteriorate like a material body, it still appears that Lord Krishna grows from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth. But astonishingly enough, he never ages beyond youth. At the time of the battle of Kurukshetra, he had many grandchildren at home, or, in other words, he had sufficiently aged by material calculations. Still, he looked just like a young man, 20 or 25 years old. We never see a picture of Krishna in old age because he never grows old like us, although he is the oldest person in the whole creation, past, present, and future. Neither his body nor his intelligence ever deteriorates or changes. Therefore, it is clear that in spite of his being in the material world, he is the same unborn, eternal form of bliss and knowledge, changeless in his transcendental body and intelligence. Factually, his appearance and disappearance are like the sun's rising, moving before us and then disappearing from our eyesight. When the sun is out of sight, we think the sun is set. And when the sun is before our eyes, we think that the sun is on the horizon. Actually, the sun is always in its fixed position. But owing to our defective, insufficient senses, we calculate the appearance and disappearance of the sun in the sky. And because Lord Krishna's appearance and disappearance are completely different from that of the ordinary common living entity, it is evident that he is eternal, blissful knowledge by his internal potency, and he is never contaminated by material nature. The Vedas also confirm that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is unborn, yet he still appears to take his birth in multi manifestations. The Vedic supplementary literatures also confirm that even though the Lord appears to be taking his birth, he is still without change of body. In the Bhagavatam, he appears before his mother as Narayana with 4 hands and the decorations of the 6 hands of full opulences. His appearance in his original eternal form is his causeless mercy, bestowed upon the living entities so that they can concentrate on the Supreme Lord as He is, and not on mental concoctions and imaginations, which the impersonalist wrongly thinks the Lord's forms to be. The wrong Maya or Atma, the word Maya or Atma Maya refers to the Lord's causeless mercy. According to the Vishwakosha dictionary, the Lord is conscious of all his previous appearances and disappearances. But a common living entity forgets everything about his past body as soon as he gets another body. He is the Lord of all living entities because he performs wonderful and superhuman activities while he is on this earth. Therefore, the Lord is always the same, absolute truth, and is without differentiation between his form and self, or between his quality and form. A question may now be raised as to why the Lord appears and disappears in this world. This is explained in the next verse.
Right. So this is one section. Right? Clear? Yeah. Okay, we'll stop here. 5 minutes.
Take this out. It won't reach.
ग्लानिर्भवति भारत
अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य
तदात्मानं शिजाम्यहम्
तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् Yada yada, whenever and wherever, he certainly, dharmasya, of religion, glani, discrepancies, bhavati, become manifested, bharata, O descendant of Bharata, abhyuktanam, predominance, adharmasya, of irreligion, tada, at that time, atmanam, self, srajami, manifest, aham, I. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I dissent myself. Purport by Divine Grace Prabhupada. The word Srijami is significant herein. Srijami cannot be used in the sense of creation because according to the previous verse, there is no creation of the Lord's form or body, since all of the forms are eternally existent. Therefore, Srijami means that the Lord manifests himself as he is. Although the Lord appears on a schedule, namely at the end of Dwapar Yuga, at the 28th millennium of the 7th Manu in one day of Brahma, he has no obligation to adhere to such rules and regulations because he is completely free to act in many ways as is at his will. He therefore appears by his own will whenever there is a predominance of irreligiosity and disappearance of true religion.
Yes, so here, so when does Krishna, I think, what's the schedule of it? That's the principle, but when's the schedule?
Schedule is end of Dwapar Yuga.
End of Dwapar
Yuga 28th millennium.
28th millennium of the
7th Manu.
7th Manu. How many Manus are there?
14 Manus.
14 Manus. So he comes in the 28th millennium of the 7th Manu in one day of Brahma. Right? That's his schedule. And everybody says, it's my turn now. The schedule. Right? You put your name on the calendar, right? It's your turn now. But even though all this is there, but there's no obligation for him to come. He can come anytime. So as soon as he sees there is irreligion, predominance of irreligion, and disappearance of true religion, immediately say, okay, you come. He decides, right? Go on.
Yeah. He therefore appears by his own will whenever there is a predominance of irreligion and disappearance of true religion. Principles of religion are laid down in the Vedas, and any discrepancy in the matter of properly executing the rules of Vedas makes one irreligious. In the Bhagavatam, it is stated that such principles are the laws of the Lord. Only the Lord can manufacture a system of religion. The Vedas are also accepted as originally spoken by the Lord himself to Brahma from within his heart. Therefore, the principles of dharma or religion are the direct orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. These principles are clearly indicated throughout the Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of the Vedas is to establish such a principle under the order of Supreme Lord, and the Lord directly orders at the end of the Gita. And that highest principle of religion is to surrender unto him only, nothing more. The Vedic principles push one towards complete surrender unto him whenever such principles are distributed by the demonic. The Lord appears from the Bhagavatam. The Lord appears. From the Bhagavatam, we understand that the Lord Buddha is the incarnation of Krishna who appeared when the materialism was rampant and were using the pretext of the authority of Vedas. Although there are certain restrictive rules and regulations regarding animal sacrifice for particular purpose in the Vedas, people of Dominic tendency still took to animal sacrifice without reference to the Vedic principles. Lord Buddha appeared in order to stop this nonsense and to establish the Vedic principles of non violence. Therefore, each and every avatar or incarnation of the Lord has a particular mission, and they are all described in the revealed scriptures. No one should be accepted as an avatara unless he is referred to by the scriptures. It is not a fact that the Lord appears only on Indian soil. He can manifest himself anywhere and everywhere, whenever he desires to appear in each and every incarnation. He speaks as much about religion as can be understood by the particular people under their particular circumstance. But the mission is the same, to lead people to God consciousness and obedience to the principles of religion. Sometimes he descends personally, and sometimes he sends his bona fide representative in the form of his son or servant or himself in some disguised form. In the principles of Bhagavad Gita were spoken to Arjuna, and for that matter to other highly elevated persons, because he was highly advanced compared to ordinary persons in other parts of the world. In 2 plus 2 equals 4 in the mathematics principle that is true in the beginner's arithmetic class and in the advanced class as well. Still, there are higher and lower mathematics. In all the incarnation of the Lord, therefore, the same principles are taught, but they appear to be higher and lower in the varied circumstances. The higher principles of religion begin with the acceptance of 4 orders and 4 statuses of social life, as well as will be explained later. The whole purpose of the mission of incarnation is to arouse Krishna consciousness everywhere. Such consciousness is manifest and non-manifest only under different circumstances. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so this is very complicated purport actually. And I hope that all of you have studied this book Vedic philosophy of students. Alright? There is a whole section about dharma. So I'm not going to discuss this. All the different levels of dharma. So much is given here about what is this dharma, we should understand it properly. So dharma cannot be manufactured, but the Vedic principles push one towards complete surrender unto him, and whenever such principles are disturbed by the demoniac, the Lord appears. So it is the natural tendency of the human being to disobey, right? To disobey Krishna's instructions and to surrender to his idea, right? So what do? They manufacture their own system. When even they do something wrong, they believe to go on that wrong path, right? The entire history of the world is about deviation from Krishna's instructions, and therefore there is a reaction to it. So the Supreme Lord appears. So it's it's so horrible to see all this devastation everywhere, right? So horrible. But as devotees, we also know that Krishna will take care, right? Even though, like I saw so many people are going and helping out, right? They're bringing food to the people, they are reconstructing their houses, providing them with so many things, right? So we know that this is happening due to breaking the laws of dharma, but hopefully everybody will learn something from it. right? So, the Supreme Lord appears. He appears in different forms. So, an example is given as Lord Buddha. So, when the Brahmanas, Karmakandiya Brahmanas, when they were deviating from the instruction of the Supreme Lord, so basically they were materialists. They are using the Vedas, but they are using for their own purpose. So, anyway, I don't know, I can't speak too much, but anyway, actually, I was just thinking about how, it's like such a taboo to speak about the name of Brahmana. Also, you take the name Brahmana, immediately like it's a black spot, right? So, like, what happened in India? Like, I was just thinking about all those temples, so they lost their position. Beside being, why would these temples be invaded? Why will these temples be captured, right? Most probably because of fall down from religious principles, right? So then we study the history of India, and for me, I was very curious. I couldn't figure out, why the temples are like this. Why, like in some temple, they would, as soon as you step in, they harass you, give money, give money, give money, So I couldn't understand what was going on. So I had to hear and study little the history. So the Brahmanas have been very badly treated also, right? So such a taboo. It was also political. It was also a political move that as soon as you take the name of Brahmana, immediately you have to boycott that Brahmana. Because if you're Brahmana, means you're intelligent, means you can overthrow a government. So they created also a rift between the general population and the Brahmana, right? So what I learned was that so many of the children of those Brahmanas, what did they do? They
They
say,
did not study they changed their form.
yeah, they went off to US.
Now, even the Panditji who comes to our house, their children are not studying what we are also studying.
Yeah, so where are they? They are in US. Everybody is sent to US, right? Because they are brainy. They're brainy. Actually, tell you frankly, for me, Brahmana means somebody who's unpad. That was my
Yeah, perception.
impression from childhood. They are unpad.
And also poor,
Right.
always asking money.
It's such a strange thing. So it's only when I studied Prabhupada's books that I understood that the Brahmanas are intelligent class. Yeah, they are the intelligent class. So meaning that Brahmana will be somebody who doesn't have any job, right? So you just make him Panditji, right? So you can understand how everything went upside down. So now it's such a strange, like what's going on in the world right now. So there was such a migration of these these Brahmanas, sons of Brahmanas, we call them Brahma Bandhu, sons of Brahmanas. They migrated specifically to US. I don't know why, how was the history there. So they were welcomed. And what did they become? Technicians. Alright? They became technicians. From Brahmana, they became technicians. But because they're very intelligent, they became super technicians. And now what's happening? They're being thrown out. Right? They're being thrown out. God knows why.
Some promises.
God knows why. It's like the cycle of time is such. Nobody can figure out what's going on. Right? Nobody knows. And superpower, India superpower, everywhere, it's everywhere. Superpower, right? So now these highly qualified, say the brain meaning the sons of the Brahmanas and maybe Kshatriyas also, maybe mostly Brahmanas, I would guess, where they have brain. So they, yeah. So now, if they come back to India, okay, what would they be? What they will do? Why? No.
Because they are real technicians now.
Well, India is opening the doors and please come back. We will set up our high-tech here. China is completely come to our country. We welcome you there, right? Isn't it? This is what we call geopolitics. So when from Bharatvarsh you throw out your Brahminical class, those who are after Artha, they capture them. I'm saying this is how the demons work, right? So they capture them, mind their brain, right? Mind their brain, make them work, and then when somebody goes crazy, you don't know why he's going crazy. Now what does he do? He throws them all out. And here in India, they say, come back home, right? Come back home.
From Brahmanas they come to Shudras.
Yes, exactly. But still, they're brainy Shudras, right? They're not ordinary Shudras. They're super brainy Shudras, all engineers, right? Just see, Nikhileshwari Mataji, simple lady who could say it simply by studying Prabhupada's books from Brahmana, they have become high class Shudras. And when they come back to India, will they remain Shudras or will they accept the teachings of the Vedas and again revive their Brahminical culture? So India will not be successful only by having high class Shudras, intelligent Shudras. India will become glorious again when these intelligent people will again accept the Vedas properly and surrender to Krishna. Alright. So we read somewhere in Bhagavatam that Lord Buddha, now he came because of Ahimsa. But in some other yuga, Lord Brahma came, why? Because of the scientists. He came because of the scientists. Lord Buddha. You understand? The scientists being very brainy, right? Yeah, because the scientists were capturing the world. Alright? Just like now, right? They capture the world, the scientists. Right? So Buddha means somebody who is more intelligent than you. Right? Good. Yeah. Mercury? Good. Highly intelligent. Sorry? Yes, in Kali Yuga. Yes. The scientists, because the scientists have overtaken the whole population and make them become scientists, meaning atheists. Well, I've just described to you now this Buddha, right? Who was he fighting with? They were Karma-Kandiya Brahmanas. Alright? See, you can see how when the brain gets diseased, the entire body gets diseased. So this is why Krishna is speaking to the heads. Because the brain has to be proper. This knowledge is given to the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas. Follow? very risky, extremely risky. We don't know when, what will happen, how your head will suddenly become Shudra. Right? Right? So it's no use. The final message of this Bhagavad Gita is that we should make a plan, a program to come out of this cycle virtue. We should not think, okay, now good, India will become superpower, stay here. I have just described to you. We don't know what will happen. Thinking, okay, that was, Angrezi time is over, Mughal time is over, now I will enjoy, relax and enjoy. But you can see, it doesn't work that way. Very, very risky. Oh my God, we are speaking about politics here.
But the Buddha mainly came because of so much animal sacrifice happening.
Yes. He came because of the karma Kandiya Brahmanas who were, what were they doing? They were doing this Ashwamedha Yagya and Gomedha Yagya specifically. Gomedha Yagya is a specific type of yagya by which you rejuvenate an animal, the cow. But these Karma Kandiya Brahmana, they had lost their power for whatever reason. Alright? So the cows were not being revived. So the cows were dying in the sacrifice. But then we say, I'm Brahmana, you know how, puffed up, how are you fixed in your position and, fixed. They are not admitting that they are failing in their work. Alright? They are not admitting it. So what do they do with these dead cows? They eat, and they make the population eat. You understand? And they will continue, yes, it's our tradition, you know how people are, right? We should follow the Brahmanas, we should follow our tradition, right? They're misleading, but the whole world is, yes. So Buddha came and said, stop.
This is what is happening in Nepal. Whole Nepal is non-vegetarian.
Really?
Yes.
They're Buddhists, right?
But we just visited Nepal. We went to Pashupatinath temple, and everybody is non-veg.
Really?
Because blindly they are saying that they are killing, they are sacrificing animals, right, for the religious practices.
Oh.
And then they're eating.
Oh. And anyway, here you are having,
we are
having an example, right?
And this also proved that Buddha was really incarnation of Krishna. Because there are so many questions about Buddha also. Because he left his wife. How they just devalue everything. So again, it is this Gita again, this book is again telling us about the importance of Buddha reincarnation.
Yeah, because interpretation, right? It's, scholarly interpretation. See, now you remember one thing. If you want to capture a population, right? And especially if that population is intelligent, right? So this is called intellectual war. Alright? It's an intellectual war. So you have to capture the intelligence, you have to give them a different type of knowledge, you have to make them become atheists like you. Right? So if you say, no, it's like this in our books, and you are under domination, right? Just like right now, we are not able to teach Bhagavad Gita in the schools because you are still under domination.
Yeah.
Right?
Secularism.
Yes. Nowhere except in UK you can teach Bhagavad Gita, distorted Bhagavad Gita, right? So you learn everything. Anyway, Kalika is not a good time at all. But Palo Doshe Puna what? Kirtanat eva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Brajan. We are describing the falls of Kali Yuga. But Krishna has descended in the form of his holy name. Kirtanat eva Krishnasya. After describing everything, Shukdev Goswami told this to Maharaj Parikshit. This Kali Yuga is an ocean of falls. So when we look around you, when we think, oh my God, how many births I have taken in this Kali Yuga? Right? How many births I have taken? If you live at the rate of 100 years, right? If you have 50 years, 50 births, so 5,000 years in Kali Yuga means 50 births we have already taken, right? What we have experienced. And our lifespan is shortening, right? Everything is shortening. More and more calamities. Less life, more birth years, right? Right, isn't it? We're killing the youngsters are dying from drugs,
More
from
births.
alcohol, from cigarette, right? We are not shooting them with guns or killing them with knives and weapons. What are we doing? Yes, we are killing them with, like you said in Vrindavan, people are smoking. Where is it coming from? From next door, right?
Chemical what?
Making the kids addicted to all types of drugs, isn't it? Right? So if they have come to the temple, each and every one of us take 1 hour, talk to somebody, you can save somebody, right? Don't just come read Bhagavad Gita and go home. Right? Yes. Yes, everybody. Everybody. Not only the watchmen, we want to tell the youngsters, right? No, don't aim only the watchmen. Everybody wants to give a Gita to the watchmen. Give the Bhagavad Gita to the youth. Yeah, all these children, what sinful activity they do during Navaratri?
Yes.
Right? Why don't you go and distribute Bhagavad Gita there? In all those pandal. Isn't it? It's a religious festival. Put your Bhagavad Gita there. Yeah, whatever. Give them. Even chant and be happy. There's one small book called Chant and Be Happy. See, when the demons are attacking, are you not going to defend? Right? So, now Prabhupada has given us, all of us who are seeking knowledge, how much we suffered. Alright, it's only how many years Prabhupada's movement is? 50, 60 years. Right? Do you know how much we suffered looking for knowledge? We couldn't get. Right? We are so lucky. Now we have understood, we are able to teach. In our time, nothing. Right? So we are able to Prabhupada's mercy and we don't know how long this will last. Alright? Don't think that everything is, forever. It's in the material world, everything is shifting. Isn't it? Don't forget that we lost the glory of India. It can be lost anytime. So if Srila Prabhupada is bringing again the Guru Parampara, by giving proper knowledge, we should practice ourselves, we should teach others. This is the purpose for which Krishna appears. This is what he said in this text. Alright, don't just recite by heart and every child knows the shloka but doesn't practice. And parents don't make them practice. Right? They make sure they go to English school. Right? Follow English style.
Then we have somebody like an incarnated soul, like Modi ji, who has at least brought some wave, some nationalism back to the country. What the time that they are looking at, it was not what we were looking at. When I was schooling, English speaking and it was so very important, and like I can see the difference between my time and her time also. Like how it is now, back to the scriptures, back to the Sanskrit. At our time it was only English. Everybody wanted to go to US and that's how it is. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing how anything like this can happen. So meaning time is such that is what we call asat. Asat. The material world is asat. It's flickering. It's temporary. Flickering. You thought that now I'm settled there, my whole generation is settled there. And this has happened again and again. This is one country now, previously in Africa, it happened. They were thrown out. Yeah? So it's always like this. So this world is in dangerous state. The entire world has been on the move, like America, how did it form? It formed. People were being harassed and killed in Europe, isn't it? So they migrated, they wanted to form America. So people are always being persecuted.
People are being
Persecuted. Right? So where will you find peace? This is Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga means wars and wars and wars. In all ways. Kalo doshe nidhe rajan eko asti mahat guna kirtanan eva Krishnasya. Alright? In this age of Kali, I'm just coming again and again with this in the news, right? It's bursting everywhere in the news. So what do you do? What do you do? Right? So it's not that, okay, shift out power, shift out wealth. No. I'm no doubt again it will shift. No doubt. So probably right, best get out. Get out of this world. Especially for you, but get out fast. You're not going to enjoy life. Alright, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Nothing nice note, but this is the truth.
अभी कौन सा श्लोक है?
Mr. Vivasi.
अभी कौन सा श्लोक है?
sorry,
अभी कौन सा श्लोक है? श्लोक
श्लोक
अभी कौन सा?
वो तो उसमें है वो इसमें नहीं वो to come in between the two. It's not a Bhagavad Gita श्लोक. It's from